Well, to pick up on a theme, Stephen, another crazy week in the Premier League it's been, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be quite the norm now. I mean, I think we're all, as managers, I think we all understand that now. We've copied the foreign trait, if you like, where, it seems to be. I mean, the LMA has unbelievable statistics that the average lifespan of a manager is less than 14 months now, which is quite remarkable. I think we all have to accept it, that you have to make, certainly as a manager now, you have to make an instant impact. And if you don't, then unfortunately you're in trouble.
I think you're right in that when you see it happening at Manchester United, a club that's been all about building dynasties, then you know that the game's changed, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you could say, I mean, we all, in management, especially when you look at the right at the top end as well, it's never easy. People think, a football manager, you get the sack, and the one thing you do, and Dave will be doing at the moment, I'm sure, is taking it personally, but he's been a fantastic manager who's got to the top with his talent, and I'm sure he'll have a little break and reflect on it and come back better for it. But certainly, it's obviously been a very, very difficult few days for him.
It's one less British manager in the Premier League as well, isn't it?
And I think all of us British ones anyway, were desperate for him to do well, and we were all desperately delighted that he got the job, because for me the number one job went to David, which as I said, we were all delighted about, but unfortunately for one reason or another it hasn't quite worked out. And I'm sure David, I spoke to him last week when we were at Aston Villa, and the one thing he needed was obviously a little bit of time, and unfortunately he hasn't been given it.
That's what Sir Alex got, wasn't it? He got quite a lot of time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe things have changed from 25 years ago. Certainly when you look at the statistics, and as I've said it before repeatedly now, I've said it now over the last 12 months, people like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher in particular, two high-profile people, have decided to go into the media. And I can understand that, because when you look at young managers trying to make their way now, especially in the lower divisions where they're not as high profile, it takes you 6-7 years to get these qualifications, your A licence, your B licence, your pro licence. All of these things have to be in place now, and then you maybe get a crack at it after 7 years, and it lasts less than a year. So I think we're just going to discourage the up-and-coming British English manager, if you like, because certainly now, they're obviously wary of the young ones coming into it, and that's a shame. Where are we going to find the next Sir Alex? Because I think a lot of the big name players anyway are just walking away from it and finding it to stay in football. They'll go in the media, and why not?
But one who has stayed with it is Ryan Giggs.
Yeah.
So he gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
But already the suggestion is that it's only going to be a short-term opportunity.
Well, listen, if they win the next 3 games, 4 games, 4-0 or whatever, then there'll be a clamour for Ryan, I'm sure, and you wish him the best of luck. We wish him the best of luck with it. It's obviously he's been the most decorated player that's ever walked, and I don't think there'll be anybody else getting the medals and everything he's got. But we wish him the best of luck. Now he's in the hot seat, so good luck to him.
When you get a taste of it like that, is it hard to let go then?
Well, that'll be the hard thing, and whether he enjoys it or not. It's a big thing just from sitting from the outside. Make no mistake, when you first do your first team talk, which you'll probably do tomorrow, or pick his first team, then it's difficult, and you'll understand how difficult a job it is. And then obviously you've got to concentrate in the game and make changes on it and all the rest of it. But the one thing that will never dawn to him is the Man U thing. He's been there all his life. So he's got round him a group of them who all know the Man United way, and I'm sure Old Trafford will be right behind him tomorrow.
Do you fancy it longer term?
Do I? What a silly question.
Why do you laugh at that? Is that
Do I? Well, I don't know. You seem to get pigeonholed or whatever, but you never give up. I think the day you give up, it's like in your job, or you never give up or wanting to try to get to the top. If it comes my way, then I'll have to ask the owner for permission, but who knows? But we'll see.
Well, you're right. When names are mentioned in connection with the job, it's Van Gaal, it's Ancelotti.
Well, I think what they're looking for is obviously people who've won trophies, And no disrespect to the club I work for now, or Wigan, or Birmingham, or Sunderland, you can't, you can't win the Premier League with them clubs. You can't win much with them. The big clubs, as we've seen, have dominated the last 20 years. The Premier League also, Man United's won 13 of them. So it's very, very difficult. But that's what they're obviously looking for. But that seems to be the case anyway. But who knows?
So is the job different?
Is the job different? Well, the one thing about management, whether you're managing, in my experience with it, whether you're managing in the lower divisions or you're managing, it's a similar job. You've got the similar sort of things. Of course, bigger stages, bigger audience, bigger television audiences. So the one thing about these big clubs is Man United is going to be headlines for every national newspaper, every television programme. Everybody wants a bit of Man U. It's when I finish with them, every question I get answered, the first thing when I went to management, what's Sir Alex like? I had to put up with that for about 10 years. So there's a huge demand on you. It's the demand on you. But the actual job of picking a team, playing the right way, winning a game of football, that doesn't change. And the enormity of course changes, but with a bit of experience. And I would like to think now I've done 10, 11 years in the Premier League. And what's the next step? That's the question I keep asking myself. What's the next step? And for that, we'll just have to wait and see.
You got a chance to win something here as well this year, and the Qs have been outside the ground. Tell you that.
Yeah, fantastic. And it took me 15 years to try and do it, to try and get to a cup final or whatever. And that's the way I looked at it at the start with the FA Cup or the League Cup, to say, well, do you know what it is? A club like ours, we can only win. We could win an FA Cup because Wigan showed it last year. You've got no chance of winning the Premier League. We haven't got the resources to do that, but we're capable of winning 5-6 games. We've won 5 of them. Can we win the 6th one? It would be a fantastic end to the season if we can do it.
And last one from me. On that basis, are you where you need to be in the Premier League just yet before you...
Yeah, well, we need to see it off, and we've got 3 away games. We've got now 3 away games, and we still need to pick up a few points. So we're still in a wonderful position. We'd love to see it off this weekend if we possibly could. We win tomorrow, and I think we're safe, and that's all to play for.
Do you think if you draw tomorrow, you're safe as well?
Possibly. It all depends on other results then, but that could be the case, yeah. I mean, certainly then Fulham couldn't catch us, and Cardiff and Sunderland play each other, so with 3 games to go, some sort of result tomorrow might make it, with what goal difference we've got, might be enough.
You described your first 30 minutes of last week against Arsenal as the best you've played for some time,
yeah.
And then you ended up on a 3-0 reverse.
Yeah.
So I wonder what your mindset's been going into this one.
Well, you have to look at the quality of Arsenal's first goal for a start with. For 35 minutes, I've never played against or never been in charge of a team which has had 3-4 really good chances, and Arsenal really hadn't created anything at all. But that's the quality of the big teams, of what they've got. They've got something in their locker out of nothing. They can create something and score. And certainly with the addition of Ramsey in their team and Ozil, and I'm sure Mr. Wenger will be looking and thinking, if only I had them fit, them players have been missing. And so even the mighty Arsenal, they've missed the big time players, but certainly when you put Ramsey into their team and Ozil into their team, then obviously they're a different proposition to what they were 2-3 weeks ago.
So if you find that first 30 minutes again against Fulham, can you unlock the door at Craven Cottage?
Well, you've created the chances. We've created the chances against Arsenal. Unfortunately, you haven't taken them, and that is for me the fine line in the Barclays Premier League. Is you're not going to get chance after chance after chance. You have to take them. Arsenal, their first 2 chances, they score against us, and that's the difference in the big league. Taking your chances. We've seen the statistics if you score first, and how different the game is then. So, let's hope we can repeat the first half an hour against Fulham over 90 minutes and get a result. That's the most important thing.
Full squad? Have you got a full team to pick from?
We've got, near enough. Everybody has. Shawnee Aluko will train today. He's done a bit yesterday. He will train today. He comes back in if he's available, and we'll wait until after train today.
And how's Alan McGregor? How's his recovery going?
Alan McGregor's jogging on the training ground. He's making a desperate effort to be fit for a couple of weeks' time, and and I'm not gonna, stop it, But obviously he's got 3 broken ribs and a damaged kidney, but he's doing his very best to see if he can be fit.
So you're saying Alan McGregor is not ruled out of the FA Cup final?
And Paul McShane. Paul McShane's training on Saturday after 9 weeks out with an ankle as well. I'm not going to rule anybody out just yet. If he's making them strides, then I'm not going to rule him out. I'm not going to say, "Whoa, Alan, you're not going to be playing." Certainly, if he can make himself available, then great. The more to pick from. Robbie Brady, I don't think so. Robbie Brady, no, Robbie Brady won't. No.
So he'll not make it for the end of the season then?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And then, of course, you mentioned that you've got 3 of the away games to come, and of course one of those happens to be at Manchester United. It's your game in hand, actually. And it's you and Ryan Giggs. How do you see that?
Well, listen, whenever you go to Man U, whenever time is going to be difficult. After what's happened over the last, it's going to be even more difficult, in my opinion. It'll be difficult for Norwich on Saturday because the place will get right behind Ryan and Scholesy and all the entourage with them. They're going to get right behind them, so it'll be a difficult game. But then again, they all are, in my experience with it.
Steve, just before you took in, I'll try and make it quick. Some teams you meet them at the right time. It feels a little bit like you're meeting Fulham at the wrong time. They've found some form. They've got a new coach. He seems to have galvanised things.
He has. He's certainly made them an impression and given them a chance, because a few weeks ago they looked, and to be fair to him, he's been positive since he walked. He was adamant that they weren't going down, and they've had a couple of results back to back, which is huge when you're down at the bottom. They had a bit of a setback last week against Fulham, but when you look at their fixtures, I think 2 of their 3 games are at home. They've got a chance like everybody else has still at the moment. There's nobody, and typical of the division this week, we've seen Sunderland get 4 points out of 6 where nobody of them give them a hope in hell. So it's still all to play for. They're all scrapping away. Games are running out. The people have got 2 and 3 games left. 2 games left after this weekend. So, but to be fair to the new coach, he's come in there and galvanised them a bit, and certainly he's had a response.
I think you may have pitched Fulham against Fulham there at some point in that answer. But
did I say Fulham against Fulham? Fulham against Tottenham. Yeah, they lost last week to Tottenham. Sorry.
Just going back a couple of questions, if I may. Do you feel sorry for David Moyes? Do you think he was unfairly treated?
I feel sorry for any manager who gets the sack these days, because I know how hard it is, and I think people don't understand that. And I describe it's like everybody else getting the sack. It's not pleasant, whether it's your job or my job or anybody's job. If you get the sack, you lose your job, then if you've got a bit of pride about you, it certainly Dave has, then you're upset, disappointed, and the one thing you have to do in football management, which Dave probably's never experienced, and is having to deal with it, which he will do. He's strong enough to cope with it. He's proved he's been an excellent manager. He's been going for 15 years without a break. I'd have thought he'd take a break and dust himself down and get ready. I'm sure he'd be not short of offers. And of course you feel sorry for him. And looking at it from the outside as well, you'd have to say, I'm sure Man United even think the same way, that they could have handled it better. To find out on social media, we know the way the world works now, but to find out that way, I'm sure nobody would like to lose their job like that.
You were with him, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah.
When you're not at Aston Villa, I
Yeah.
saw you there, chatting to him.
Yeah. No, nothing up to all. He was looking forward to the challenge of rebuilding, which is obviously now, it was the main thing for him, was to rebuild, dust himself down and get ready for a summer, which, and let's be fair, to go and, to take over after Sir Alex, it was always going to be difficult, no matter who got the job. And I think we all witnessed that. And also, the big challenge for anybody going in there, looking from the outside, is Evra, Vidic, Ferdinand in particular. 3 of the back 4 have played there for the last 10 years and been magnificent. Where do you go and replace them? And also in front of that, you've got Giggs and Scholes, who have been top players for, all of them have got to the wrong age, unfortunately. And so whoever it was going to be a difficult job. But I'm sure Dave he'll dust himself down, have a break, and as I said, not be short of a few offers.
And final question, so you can get your bacon sarnie, is just how well equipped is Ryan Giggs? You know him well.
Well, there's been a lot of players.
We all feel we know him well. But
Yeah, there's been a lot of players who've jumped in, and Guardiola springs to mind, Klinsmann springs to mind. You know, people have gone and taken over big players, big jobs, and the one thing that it'll not do will not faze Ryan. You know, he's got to an age now. He's been at Man United all his life. It'll not faze him, and he's got nothing to lose. You know, they're fourth. They can't really play for anything. There's nothing to lose and no pressure on him. The supporters will be certainly right behind him, and who knows? He might win the next 4 games and give them something to think about.